I was always fantasizing of a man who's like big belly like that. And I like the people like when they're bored. It's so embarrassing. Hi, my name is Yeonmi Park and I'm a North Korean de facto human rights activist. I escaped North Korea in 2007. Then I was trafficked in China for 2 years. After that, I crossed the frozen Gobi Desert from China to Mongolia and finally reached freedom in South Korea in 2009. I live in Illinois, Chicago. Yeah, so I came to America around 2015, and the reason why I came here was initially I had an offer from Penguin Random House. So they asked me to write a book and my agent was in New York, Manhattan. I started studying at Columbia University in New York City. After that or so, my work has been here and I have started my family in America. The main reason why I chose to remain staying in America despite the language barrier and everything is because the heavy discrimination that I faced in South Korea. I was saying Korean and I had a South Korean citizenship. That wasn't enough to fit in and be accepted as an equal Korean. Things that I shocked by when I came to America. Number one, so even learning about the word diet was quite shocking. Not in my entire life I thought diet was something people would do, you know. And in North Korea, if like men have like big belly and bored, we usually think it's like a status of symbol of wealth. They're usually like really, you know, high positions. Here, like people think somebody is big belly and big is not a, you know, they say like the rich people are thin in America and poor people are big. And I also couldn't believe like in North Korea it's completely opposite. Like normal people, poor people are so thin and rich people like Kim Jong-un, he's huge. How like can it be so this opposite?
Do you feel like your standards of beauty or perception of people have changed over time from moving out?
Oh yeah, my ideal man's type was like someone looked like Kim Jong-un. It's so embarrassing. Oh my god, I used to be so like attracted people who's like big, and I like the people like when they're bored. I was always fantasizing of a man who's like big belly like that. And going to South Korea, so when they were talking about like Song Joong-ki, right? He's like cute. I was so confused, like what the heck are you talking about? Now, yeah, my types are changing. I like somebody who's fit and working out, slim. Definitely changing. When I was living in South Korea, you know, there were like a lot of anti-American news, especially among young people. You know, there's a lot of people like saying no American armies in South Korea, right? You know, they literally said like when you go to America, don't knock on the strangers' doors. If you do, they might shoot you. So I actually somehow thought using guns were that prevalent in Americans' life. But I came here, I never seen any single shot, firing, you know, shot. And even though they say like Chicago is always associated with the high crime, and I do want a gun personally because that is a right that I did not have when I was in North Korea. And essentially having a gun is like, in my view, is more equalizer. If all North Koreans had guns in their hands, Kim Jong-un wouldn't be able to maintain his power. You know, China, if everybody in Hong Kong this time had guns, of course there are times that some people misusing guns, but the thing is that gun itself is not violent. It has nothing. Gun is just gun. Bad people get it, they can use it in bad causes, but gun itself is a fine thing in my opinion. So I think America shouldn't pay more attention to give the guns to the right people. You know, in South Korea, there's no concept of bad areas. There's not such a thing like don't go to this neighborhood because it's a bad area. But when I came to America, there were people telling me this is a bad area, this is bad, you gotta avoid. And I was so confused in the beginning, so I literally drove to South Side and that was crazy of me. I would never do that again now, but in the beginning I was that innocent. When I was going to Columbia University, actually next to the Harlem, so I had to live in Harlem sometime to attend my university. So, you know, like literally you see these police cars there like 24/7. The whole area is very scary. There's a lot of catcalling. As a young woman, especially like Asian woman, I think I was catcalled a lot while I was living there. So I definitely tried to avoid going home from school, you know, after like 8 p.m. or even. And especially areas like Harlem or when like in Chicago, like when what you call like loop, you know, or like downtown. Homeless people in America are so much free. The North Koreans are not reserved, so even homeless people can sometimes care for you. It's sometimes scary because like if the road is not busy and they just keep following you. Sometimes it's like if the middle of the like big avenue where lots of people are walking by and they just like whistle at you and like something hotty blah blah, you know, like you look like delicious, I want to just lick you. That's what literally some people say, and I mean it's fine, it's not threatening. I don't complain about it. It's fine, but it's kind of interesting because in North Korea, everybody is so scared. It's not much fearful. Sales tax in America. In North Korea, because it's so supposed to be socialist system, we don't have taxes. And I never even knew the word tax in my life. And coming to America, whenever you go to the store, the price is like usually say $10, but when you pay it, obviously it's more than $10. And in the beginning, I was really confused because I think sales tax is like something 11%. It's pretty high. I felt like it was really high. And I was like, oh, I wish the price were just like actually this original price without taxes, you know. Paying the tip is very hard. Because in South Korea, we don't have really tipping culture, right? The final beer is your final beer. But here, you gotta add like somewhere between 15 to 30%. And you gotta like usually have to pay like 20%. So if you like, that was like really confusing. And you know, in the beginning I just thought like, oh, these people are taking advantage of me, but I heard that this waitress really need my tip to survive. When you go to these fancy restaurants, you have fork for everything, right? Knives for everything. So like you have salad fork, like entree fork, and dessert spoon. And there's different cups too. There's for like alcohol cup. I was even also understanding sparkling water and still water. It was shocking because I never, even in North Korea, I never bought water. I just went to river and drank from the river. Here, you even like people actually pay money to put some gas in the water. That was like culture shock, like wow. Yeah, I don't drink it. I can't get used to those bubbles yet.
Some people who will only drink sparkling water, like they'll only order that at a restaurant.
Yeah, and they actually cost way more. I just like ask for the tap water, but some of my friends when we just go out, they always get sparkling water. I always think like what a waste of money, you know. I think what was so amazing about going to Columbia, you know, in North Korea, right? You don't go to university because you study hard or you want to go. In North Korea, like your family caste system, the 성분 decides if you can go to university or not. It is all about your connection to the party and what kind of position your grandpa was holding in the party. But in going to Columbia was, you know, a lot of times was meritocracy. So really, really smart people coming. And they were so working hard, unbelievably working hard, and it was really inspiring. And also the thing is that every class before we start, like TAs ask, why don't you tell us your name or where you're from, give us like quick introduction. And I often said like, hey guys, my name is Yeonmi and I'm from North Korea. But usually they think I said North Carolina. So they were taking it very cool. So I was like, oh, I guess people really in America, yeah, it's like people in America are really open-minded. Like unlike in South Korea, it's not a big deal. But then they were like, hey, I heard you are from North Carolina. I was like, you know, I'm from there too. I was like, no, I meant like North Korea. Then they're like, whoa, you know. In today's video, we talked about the things that I shocked by when I came to America for the first time. If you liked today's video, like and subscribe. Thank you, bye!